All right, we're back. Back to the testimony. Loss of gum tissue is one indicator of poor oral health. A former United States Surgeon General stated that you cannot be healthy without good oral health. A United States Surgeon General. Gretchen, are you listening to this? A former United States Surgeon General. This was in the 2000 oral health report. You cannot be healthy without good oral health. And he wasn't lying. No. He was spot on. The DEA, that's the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, an agency of authority within the United States federal government placing cannabis with a classification Schedule 1, would indicate that extensive scientific research in medical science has been conducted to reach this conclusion, position, and classification. I challenge the National Institute of Health and the Drug Enforcement Agency to produce any such evidence. And then here for effect, see, this is large right here. This is large. Furthermore, I challenge any and all scientists to disprove my claims of gum tissue rejuvenation, because science can't do it. You stated so. You just spent 1.8 billion US taxpayer dollars under a disguised heading. We'll get into that later. I get back. I'm sorry. I don't mean to jump too far ahead. Furthermore, I challenge any and all scientists to disprove my claims of gum tissue rejuvenation and the prevention of gum tissue loss, the removal of calcified oral plaques from teeth and oral tissue, the prevention of accumulation of oral plaques on teeth and oral tissue with solutions containing cannabis extract. I have filed a petition with the DEA to remove from schedules and classify cannabis as essential for human health and for research into the human endocannabinoid system, and I urge you to review the important information submitted. See Exhibit 8 on pages 24 through 33 of this document. Because I doubt she watched my video. Included in the petition is a scientific document and also used herein as a standalone exhibit. See Exhibit 2 on page 14 of this document. Now, this was a scientific study done in Petri dish. I think CBD, CBN, CBG, and one other. They found it to be effective at killing oral bacteria. No effect on plaque, no effect on gum tissue, but reduces oral bacteria. So that's a good thing. And they also said it was better than, say, like traditional stuff. Like Listerine and toothpaste and, that. All right. A bad actor within the United States Patent and Trademark Office, who was an examiner for my case, contacted my, Mr. Ethan D. Dean, patent attorney, and suggested to remove all claims, over 50 claims, from my case, and the examiner suggested he had uncovered prior art to my claims, and further suggested a single claim he felt would issue, and this claim was creating a toxic poison. See Exhibit 10 on page 43 and 44 of this document. Now, is it an examiner's job to be your buddy? Hey, I found prior art. Your patent's not going to issue, but I want to offer you a claim. When I got that email from my patent attorney, I had no idea that the man had written a poison. I was just in I was dealing with an awful lot. And the message from the attorney was, if you decide to pursue this, at least you'll see what his prior art is, but you're probably up for a long, expensive battle. Oh, and he wasn't kidding. He wasn't kidding. He was a prophet there. Eventually, the corrupt actions of the United States Patent and Trademark Office personnel, and I spelled that wrong here too, that's one word I won't spell wrong anymore, issued a final office action denying the patent. That's right. Denied it. That decision was eventually overcome with money, effort, truth, and facts. We filed an after final office action argument, and probably a little bit more that got it done. Yet here again, government is suppressing, oppressing, and attacking my liberty, my right to own property. That's a constitutional right, another violation. My happiness, another constitutional violation of my civil rights. And working against the people, that's a violation against your civil rights and their health freedom and beneficial oral health options. In 2018, as the study to revolutionize the root canal was nearing completion, you see, they did a study that put $1.8 billion into this to rejuvenate gum tissue because the article with the failure, I think it's in the first paragraph, but they don't say rejuvenate, they say regenerate. As the study was nearing completion and failed to rejuvenate or regenerate lost gum tissue, besides a bad actor within the United States Patent and Trademark Office interfering in the development of my intellectual property, the United States coincidentally freezes an out-of-country banking of a Canadian-Jamaican company that had committed to work with me in developing my intellectual property, and coincidentally, the timing of these events lines up with the failure of the $1.8 billion, $1.8 billion. Oh my God. That coincidentally was funded the same month and year I was arrested. Interestingly, this mega investment in something science claimed for decades was not scientifically, medically possible, yet for some reason, yet undetermined, this all takes place after I hold in my hand evidence from an independent licensed dentist who to this day is afraid to speak openly. Yeah, everyone's afraid. Over 5 years, not one medical provider, a dentist, a doctor, a teacher, nobody has got the balls, the cojones, to write a white paper, to publicly state, I see it. They'll tell me, I see it. Someone's got to do something about this. But not me. I'm afraid of the big bad government. Well, that's what they want. They want you to be afraid. They're the ones got to be afraid now because the people are coming in a lot of ways. Okay, I'm on this page. Coincidentally, was funded the same month and year I was arrested. Interestingly, is this mega investment in something science claimed for... I read that, didn't I? Hold in my hand. Yep. Okay. I hold in my hand evidence from an independent licensed dentist who to this day is afraid to speak openly. And that is another point of oppression that is wicked and evil. You see, my dentist, a medical provider, sent me an email that said, if I discuss my mouth rinse and my oral health in their office, again, I'm barred for life. Talk about fear. They are that afraid of free speech. Gretchen, are you listening to this? Many United States government agencies and every state government public servant within the United States that have sworn an oath to uphold and defend the people's God-given rights have failed the people at every sector of governance and authority that I have noticed on these health issues, including the CDC, which is not a government agency, but they seem to give them a lot of money and a lot of credit, and the National Institute of Health, which is a government agency. See Exhibit 6 on pages 19, 20, 21 of this document. So what I'm saying is the CDC and the NIH did nothing except give me a runaround. All right, now we're done with testimony. Now it's time for Gretchen to answer some questions. If she can, if she wants to, if she decides to. Admit that Michigan allows medical marijuana established by voter initiative. That means we fought for it. We petitioned, we gathered the signatures because our legislature wouldn't do it. They wouldn't listen to us. So we did it. Admit that Michigan allows medical marijuana caregivers established by voter initiative. Again, the people speak. Admit that Michigan allows recreational marijuana established by voter initiative. Now, that's one I participated in heavily. I gathered a lot of signatures at my shop. Admit the people of Michigan have made their voices heard on recreational and medical marijuana. Admit that Michigan governance has ignored, suppressed, and oppressed its citizenry for years, disregarding visual, measurable, repeatable efficacy of cannabis in oral health in humans that has been repeatedly presented. So far, I don't think she can deny. So my experience with being prosecuted, being sued, I think this would be considered part of discovery. And there's three ways I know to answer this. Admit, deny, or can neither admit or deny. But when you have full knowledge of the facts, that kind of takes away can neither admit or deny. When you have visual, measurable, repeatable proof, can't deny. Hmm. 13. Okay, we still got some time. Admit that the Drug Enforcement Agency places marijuana in a classification of Schedule 1. Can she deny that? No. Admit that the Schedule 1 status of cannabis under the Federal Controlled Substance Act has placed cannabis in a classification that says it has no medical application. No medical application. These are some really smart people. Geniuses. And is inherently so dangerous, it cannot be made into a drug. 21 USC 801 ETSEQ. I think that's worth reading again. Admit that Schedule 1 status of cannabis under the Federal Controlled Substance Act has placed cannabis in a classification that says it has no medical application. No medical application. I could list off a lot more than none. And is inherently so dangerous it cannot be made into a drug. Now, this is where it gets really good. So this is the DEA's classification. It's their rules. Now, watch this. Admit that cannabis is a natural source of dronabinol, that's THC, the ingredient in Marinol, a Schedule III drug. Now, wait a minute. It says right here, no medical application. So what the heck is Marinol? So dangerous it cannot be made into a medical drug. What is Marinol? A medical drug? Can she deny that? Can she deny anything I've said? I don't think so. Admit there are no grounds to schedule cannabis in a more restrictive schedule than Marinol. Admit the DEA doesn't follow their own definitions and rule placing Marinol in a Schedule III drug classification. I think any first grader would be able to tell these geniuses. When I turn this overhead light on, my forehead just shines like a mirror, and it's starting to get a little bit dark. Let's see what happens. I think we'll go with it because now I can read. Admit that constitutional rights guaranteed to the people cannot be diminished by fake science, misguidance, and suppression or oppression or any nefarious acts by any public servant, and that government personnel are fully accountable to the people. If you look through your constitutions, when are they fully accountable? At all times, Gretchen. At all times. Admit that constitutional rights guaranteed to the people cannot be diminished by legislative statutes, rules, and or regulations, nor do the rights of the people end at state lines. Admit that tooth decay is harmful to people. Go ahead and deny that, Gretchen. Just try. Admit that government has a duty to protect and serve the best interest of the people. Deny that, Gretchen. You do it with your actions, but now swear to it. Has a duty to protect and serve the best interest of the people. You don't do that. Sorry, people. I'm trying my best here. I had no idea that I would have to become an investigator, an attorney, a politician, and a survivor of countless governmental attacks from all angles for years. But here we are, baby. I am standing for the people. Admit that poor oral health leads to receding gum tissue. Admit that poor oral health leads to many poor health outcomes, poor health conditions. Admit that advanced poor oral health leads to death. It does. Killed my brother. About the time that they put me in jail, I couldn't help him. I couldn't help my brother, Gretchen! My brother! My younger brother! admit that a tooth without a living, functioning nerve has no immunity. You see, people, in the root of your tooth, you have what they call tubal. 2 to 6 miles of tubal. Bacteria can sit side by side for 2 to 6 miles